Welcome to From the Eyes of Wisdom, where we pair an experienced elder from Christa Senior Living with a passionate King's High School student ready to launch into the world. Get ready for a lot of practical wisdom on how to live life well. Here's your host, Sherri Lynn.
Welcome again to From the Eyes of Wisdom. I'm Sherri Lynn, and so happy to have Linda here with us, and Vivian is here with us. So thank you, ladies, for joining us.
You're welcome.
All right, so I think I'll start with you, Linda. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you okay with me asking your age? If not, I cannot. No? Okay, no, we don't need to do that. Forget it. Don't worry about that. My mom calls herself seasoned. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Seasoned. Okay, seasoned.
Yeah, and you do edit this.
I'm editing right now, Linda.
Okay.
As we speak, it's being edited.
Okay.
It's called From the Eyes of Wisdom because the most important thing for us, the reason why we do this, is because you have a young person who is starting their life, right?
Yeah.
And so she needs to know things that you've seen and that you've heard. It's like going down the road, right?
Yeah.
If she's going down a road.
Yeah.
You've been down the road.
Yeah.
She needs to know, hey, don't turn down the 3rd Street is not a street you need to go down, right?
But the road's a lot different now.
The road's a lot different, but like in the book of Proverbs in the Bible, right? Solomon is talking, right? Certainly his son will face different actual circumstances than he had, right? But the overall wisdom is the same, right? The wisdom that is calling is, as Solomon says, wisdom is calling from the rooftop, from the street. The wisdom is still the same. That's why we can still read the book of Proverbs, right? And it still matters to us, right? We're not living in those times, but that wisdom is still the same. And Vivian, in your pre-interview, did I hear you say you lived with your grandma for some time?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
When I was growing up.
Okay.
I did.
Tell me about that.
Basically my parents were having my mom was pregnant with my sister at the time.
Okay.
So they couldn't really take care of me because there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
So I lived with my grandma for like a year or two. And it was really nice.
Yeah. What did you like about that?
She was always very Christian and she led me down a very Christian path. She read me the Bible every night.
Yeah.
And she constantly told me about love that God has for everyone. And I think that love is what was the foundation of my faith.
Yeah.
And she portrays that so well. She's so gentle. She's very forgiving. And you could just tell that she has a really close relationship with God.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember hearing that in your pre-interview, and it reminded me, I lived with my grandmother in the beginning of my life, too. Kind of same thing. There's something about being around, I think, in this culture, we just we don't respect wisdom. We don't respect older people who have been down the road. We're just like, whatever, and I know it all. You don't know anything. No offense, Vivian.
Okay.
You know some stuff, Vivian. But you don't, someone has done something that they can tell you, here's the better way to do things, right? So you were a teacher first, Linda, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long did you teach? What grade did you teach?
I taught 4th grade. And for just a couple of years, and then I decided I wanted to be a librarian in the schools. So I went to library school at the University of Washington, and then I became a librarian in the elementary schools in Shoreline, and then ended up at Shorewood. You know where Shorewood is, don't you?
Yeah.
And that's where I retired, with Shorewood.
What made you say, hey, okay, teaching, great, now librarian? Because it is a different path.
It is, but it allowed me to focus on what I love so much, books. And, when you're teaching in the classroom, especially with the 4th or 5th grade, you have to teach all the subjects.
Yeah. And you wanted just to focus on the book.
It felt good just to be able to share books with the kids. That was my great love. So besides, you had to get a 5th year, and I had to go to school and do something.
Okay. So you said, why not librarian?
Exactly.
That's, I wonder, did it seem in the moment, for lack of better terminology, I'm going to say brave, but did it seem like, wow, I'm really making a bold decision? How about that? I'm now going from, because that is a change. Like I'm leaving the classroom and now I'm going to do this. Did it feel like that in the moment? Do you remember? Did it feel like I'm making a bold turn here?
A couple of my friends from college had gone to library school, and they told me I had a little bit of knowledge of what that would be like and what courses I would take.
Okay.
It's library school like.
What is it like?
Yeah.
Well, we learned, you don't do this anymore. You don't have a card catalog, do you, in the library?
See, look at her face, Vivian. She don't have it. Ain't no Dewey Decimal nowhere.
In the old days.
Back in the old days. Woo!
All the books in the library had a card. Each book had a card. And they were alphabetized in a catalog.
Yeah.
And if you came in the library and say you wanted a book on dogs, then you would go to the card catalog and find the cards that said dogs, and it would tell you what the book was and where to find it on the shelf. How do they do it now?
I'm interested too. How you get the dog book, Vivian?
You went to the library.
You just go to the library, and they usually have shelves of different subjects. You pick out your book, and you have a library card with you, and then you check out the book, and you check out your library card. So it's on your library card.
Well, how do you know what shelf to go to?
Well, the library I go to is pretty small. So it's just like, there's like action, adventure. It's in genres.
Yeah, I've seen those headings.
No, I remember what you're saying. Not to date myself, Linda, but I remember that, and I remember the library because I grew up in an inner city area, and I just remember the library being it was like an escape for me.
Oh, really?
It was like a different, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I still remember the smell of it. It was People's Library. I still remember going in there, and it just felt like I went somewhere else. Because you could. That's what books kind of are. Do you like to read?
Yeah, I do.
Do you? What do you like to read?
I like to read, like, thriller books.
Thrillers?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
And you are a writer, an author, Linda?
Yes.
And what kind of...
I write mostly mystery, but they're called romantic suspense because they have a little romance in them besides the mystery.
Okay.
But thriller, that's pushing it up a couple notches.
I like mystery books too.
Okay. So let me ask you this. I do want to talk about a specific part of your life with your mom. Was it here at King's? She was here?
She did live here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I became familiar with the campus.
Okay. And you volunteered, right?
Did.
Okay.
I did.
Okay. And can you just tell me a little bit about that?
Well, this was back in about 2000. My mother was here, and she was in her late 90s. She fell and broke her hip.
Okay.
Had to go to the nursing home. I visited her there. She passed away. But I stayed on as a volunteer for 15 years. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved being there.
I heard that.
It was just, and the only reason I left was because COVID closed it.
Wow. So can you tell me what you loved about it, what you got out of it, what it gave to you? Like, I know you didn't do it for that, but just tell me, because there's a lot of people who don't do that, right? A lot of people who don't volunteer. What did you get out of that?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is I read to people, so I got to share books.
Yeah, okay.
People, people that were too ill to read, but they wanted to hear stories. And then the feeling of community that is here, and I think you experience that too in the school, is this community and unity, and everybody's here kind of together.
Yeah.
And that's such a good feeling.
Yeah. So the importance of community, unity, and volunteering and helping other people, and I'm guessing just giving of yourself. I just think there's to serve other people for 15 years. You know what I mean? It
was only once a week.
That's one more time than most of people that I know.
Friday was my day up here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you would come and read.
Well, if there was programs, they have programs. I would take people to programs, go in the dining room with them, and eat, or if they went in the dining, whatever they needed.
Yeah,
I was helpful. But reading to them was my favorite thing.
And that Friday, would you wake up that morning, be excited, like it's time to go.
I knew I was going.
Yeah.
I'm going there today.
I love that. So I wanted to kind of focus in on that serving and that helping and that volunteering, because I know that you just recently did, what is it called? Serve
and Learn trip.
Serve and Learn trip.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about that.
I went to Seattle. Yeah, it was really fun. We lived in a house on Woodway, and we did a lot of missions. Like, we helped homeless people, and then also like we went to women's shelters, women children's shelters, and helped there. We also like worked at a food bank and Volunteers of America.
Okay.
So we did a lot of like service around the community.
And how long was that?
It was 4 days.
It was 4 days.
3 nights.
What made you, was that the first time you did something like that, serving? And what made you sign up for that? Why did you decide that was something you wanted to do?
Basically, last year during chapel, I heard the students' testimonies on the students who went on the trips and their testimonies, and I saw how God like changed them, and I wanted that change for my life too. So I decided to go on this one, and I'm also doing Uganda this summer.
You're going to Uganda this summer?
Yeah, I'll do house seller.
Wow.
Me and Linda are impressed.
I guess. I've never been that far out of the country. What's going on there?
We're just gonna be helping out at church down there and doing like ministry there. I think we're helping like single mothers there too, and helping children, doing like a VBS there.
Wow.
And just helping out.
How long will you get to be there?
Like 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah, a bit more than 2 weeks if you count the flight.
Now, what will the weather be like there?
Really hot.
Really
hot.
Are you nervous?
Yes.
You are.
Yes.
But you feel kind of a leading to go, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the 4 days that you did the serving in Seattle, you feel like that changed you and gave you a different perspective? Like, wow, I can do this more.
Yeah. It made me more confident in myself.
Really? Okay. And so did you feel those days waking up, do you feel what Linda was talking about? Like, hey, I'm excited to get up and help.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I barely got any sleep there because we would finish at like super late, and then we'd have our own debrief, and then we'd sleep.
Okay.
How many are going in your group?
To Uganda?
Yes. Is it a big group?
It's a really big group, actually.
Oh.
I don't know, honestly, the exact number. Like, I think 30 to 40.
Oh, yeah, that's a big group. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And where do you stay when you get over there?
We're staying in the hotel there. I forgot the name. I think it was a Sapphire.
Oh, what an exciting adventure.
Wow. Now, when you hear something like that, Linda, I wonder, I had this question for some other folks that I'll be interviewing, but do you look at that and you're like, hey, like, go. Like, do you feel like that rooting on? Like, sometimes I look at people who are younger than I am,
yes,
and I feel like that I don't, it's not that I was like, oh, man, I wish I would have did that when I was younger, because I probably wouldn't have. But I do.
I'll be with you.
Yeah. But I feel like an excitement for you because I feel your excitement. Is that
absolutely?
You feel that?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I don't think I would have had the courage to do that, even at this age. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not much of a traveler now anymore, but yes, just to hear about this opportunity is fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh,
and to root, you'd be like, yeah,
go for it.
Yes. Go for it.
Yes, go for it.
You're also creative, right? Do you feel like you're creative?
I think I'm creative.
Yeah. What do you like to create? What's your best expression of your creative self? So if someone asks me that, I'm a writer, and so I like to write. How do you express yourself creatively?
I like to do bullet journaling.
Do what?
Bullet journaling. It's
bullet journaling?
Yeah.
Okay, me and Linda don't know what that is.
That's another generation.
Both of us leaned in like, no, we're working with bullets. Okay, now what is it?
It's like you just like do like for example, I do like a month spread for each month.
Okay.
So I'd have like May, and then I have like the calendar for May, and then I have like write one line for each day in May, and then you can like draw your mood or something. It's just like a really fun way to like look back on things.
Oh,
I love journaling as well. Just like
okay,
that keeps the writing habit going. That's excellent.
Yes. Do you journal?
No, not anymore. I used to.
Okay.
And I guess I kind of do sporadically.
Okay. So you are a writer. Let me ask you this. When creating, do you have to feel inspired to create? Or do you just say, hey, it's Tuesday, it's 2:00 in the afternoon, I need to be writing, I need to be painting, let me get to it?
I think a little bit of both.
Okay.
But if I have to make myself do it, or, like you say, it's time to do this.
Yeah.
What usually happens is that when I get into it, then I'm glad I did. This is where I need to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does
that make sense?
Yes, it does. And that is very instructive. And that's probably something you'll want to continue to think of, Vivian. That's something I need it to remember, is that sometimes as a creative, you are waiting for the inspiration, right? You're waiting for a big lightning bolt to hit you. And it's like, now I'm going to write the great novel. And if you go into a job where creating is your job, you do not have the benefit of inspiration, right? Like, it's like, where is the paper? Like, it's like you have to write the script, right? And so I love that, Linda, is the fact that write it.
But this bullet writing, that keeps you writing. Yeah, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
So you don't have to say, am I going to write today or what am I going to do or not? You have that plan.
Yeah.
And you don't feel obligated to do it. You enjoy doing it.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still not understanding y'all. I see the two of y'all get it, but are you?
I can show you if you want.
Yeah, I'm sorry, everyone who's listening, and you all can't see it, but Vivian's going to get the.
All right.
Linda understands what's going on. The bullet. Okay, so she has her.
This is
you have your journal.
my part one. I didn't finish this one,
All right.
but I just.
Oh. Okay, so to describe what's happening, which the whole podcast audience probably understands, but me. But I get it. It's that would keep you creating every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yes, that is. Now, is that something that a lot of your friends do as well?
No.
No.
I think, I know a lot of my friends have tried, but it's really hard to keep up. But thankfully, I've had mine for 3 years now. I've been doing this for 3 years.
Wow.
Weird.
Yeah, I have a shelf of just my old bullet journals, and it's really fun to look back on it.
Now, is there ever a day when you don't do it?
Yeah.
And then do you feel bad?
That's a great question.
Get mad at yourself?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I mean, sometimes I'm just too busy, but I always do it a day after.
What's the longest you've gone
catch up
not doing it?
Honestly, 1 day. I've been very consistent. I bring this on every trip I go on, everything I do, every sleepover I have.
Impressive. Do you want a job or a career in creating?
No.
You do not?
No, I don't think so. I want to just have a STEM major, probably, most likely.
Okay.
It's much stabler that way.
She wants to be what? A what?
A STEM major.
STEM?
Yes.
I don't know what that is.
Science, math.
Oh,
yeah.
See, boy.
Yeah.
When did that term come in?
It's been a while, and I know. Yeah, I understand.
Well,
yes.
I retired quite a while ago.
Yeah, I know. I understand. So what would you say, Linda, because you started writing and painting after you retired? Is that right?
No, it was while I was still a librarian.
While you were still a librarian?
Took it up seriously.
Okay.
I mean, I'd always liked to draw and paint. And I'd always liked to write little stories. But I didn't get serious about it until I was working as a librarian.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were writing and you were creating, but you were still working as a librarian.
Yes.
Because I'm assuming the librarian, what she just said, the librarian is the check that is steady.
Is the what?
The check, the money that it pays.
Yes, right.
That's the steady paycheck.
Yeah.
And then you did the other thing.
Yes.
Did you ever wish, or did you ever consider, hey, authoring or painting, I wish I could do that full time?
No, I really loved my job.
You did love your job.
I did.
Okay, so it wasn't, hey, I'm just doing this because I need the paycheck. I love the books in the librarian. Okay. All right. Now that's good to note, because Do you love science and math?
I do.
You do love science and math.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just because I need to make sure I got, which is fine. Everyone listening, please don't be like, Sherri told her to be a starving artist. No, I didn't. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of why she. So you do love science and math. It's not just because I need a steady paycheck. So it's, you want to create on the side, sort of like the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
I do think you can do both. I do.
How would you best tell her to do that? Or how did you make space in your life for both?
Well, I had to put in some extra time. Like, I can remember when I first started writing and seriously wanted to write to publish, I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning and wrote for about an hour or so before I got ready to go to the job. So there is some adjustment and some sacrifice, I guess. There can be anyway.
Yeah.
Because, I had a full-time job, but I also wanted to do this other thing.
Yeah.
I had to find that time to do it.
Is that something you think you'd be willing to do?
I don't think I do creative stuff professionally.
Well, do you think you would want to, just still continue to do some creative stuff on the side?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Can I ask you, in your personal, private time, just you, what would best describe your mental state? Would it be fear or would it be peace?
Like
Anxiety or peace? Just sitting, you by yourself in your room, in a car, and wherever, just you and your own personal thoughts. Peace or anxiety?
I think it could be both.
Okay.
Like, it depends on the day. It depends on, the week. Yeah.
What is, give me one of them dominates.
Oh, that's hard. I don't know. It really just depends. Because, I have AP test this week and next week. So, that's a little anxiety because that's all I'm thinking about.
Right.
But then, after the Seattle mission trip, that was so good. Definitely peace after that.
Okay.
Yeah. It just depends on what I'm going on, to be honest. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Linda, do you think, this is just something I've been thinking about, do you think a young person can have wisdom and peace? Or do you think that that's something that just comes with age?
I really can't answer that.
Okay.
I don't know. Wisdom and peace.
Wisdom and peace. Like, you know what I mean? Like peace where, okay, whatever the next thing is, whatever the next move is, it's fine. Instead of that kind of angsty kind of.
I think maybe your belief system can give you peace. And if you go there, you can find peace.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. I just wonder if there's a peace and wisdom that comes with having years behind you where you're like, I've experienced stuff already, so now I have some kind of peace and wisdom behind me. Or is there a peace that you can obtain now where...
Oh, I don't know. That's a tough question. I'd have to think about that for a while.
Well, I like the idea of having a foundation.
Yeah.
And it sounds like your grandmother really helped in laying that for
what
you.
Background you had. Oh, you're so lucky.
That's helpful.
Yes. I'm sure she gave you a lot of confidence and peace.
Yeah.
Wow.
What other questions would you have for her as she starts her life? Or would you have any wisdom for her as she starts her, she's taking her AP test. Pretty soon she'll be out of high school and she's going to be starting her life.
Well, I think you've already done a lot by deciding what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big step.
Yeah.
And you sound like you are sure of it and you've done enough study of it and experiencing of it that you're sure that's what you want to do. And that's
big.
That's a big step.
Yeah.
I think a lot of, like myself, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And
Really?
I didn't. Did I want to teach? Did I want to do this? Did I want to that? And I finally settled, and I was happy with what I settled in.
Mm-hmm.
But it took a while to make the choices, to decide. In fact, I wasn't even going to go to college.
Huh.
I wanted to work in an office.
Oh, really? Like secretary?
Yeah, because I like to do that stuff.
Okay.
I'm a compulsive organizer.
Well,
And back in the day when I was growing, that's what the secretaries did. They filed things.
Yeah.
They did all that. I thought, gee, that's what I want to do.
Okay.
Well, I have to tell you this. My mother, and it was mainly my mother, she said, I want you to go to college. She said, just go 1 year. And that's all. If you just go 1 year, I'll be happy. Well, I got there and I had this experience of all this that was there. And oh boy, that did it for me. So I'm so glad she made me do it because, but what I'm saying is you already know what you want to do. You have
already ahead of the game a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you're lucky in that sense.
What questions would you have of someone who's lived this life and been in education and has created all these things and writes and paints and been down that road? What kind of questions would you have?
What was teaching?
What was it like?
Yeah. Did you like it?
Oh, yes. I loved the kids. It was trying to experience what they experienced despite the age difference, trying to be what does a little kid feel like and how they look at things and how can I help them or how can I see how their experience.
Yeah,
it was great.
Having empathy.
Yeah, and we had fun, out on the playground at recess. Well, this was when I did 4th grade, and kids can show you a different perspective than you have. They look at things differently, and they sometimes see things you don't see. You're reminded, oh, this is what it's like to be a child.
Yeah. And have sort of an innocence at looking at things.
Yes.
Not an agenda, not jaded, not cynical.
Yes.
Sweet way
they
of
do.
looking at things. Yeah. Is there anything in life you wish you would have done more of?
Maybe traveling. Yeah. I mean, this idea of going to Uganda is, whoa. That's so off my radar.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Do it. Go for it.
Nice.
You are. But yeah.
That's wonderful. I was going to ask you if you had one piece of advice for her. I always do this.
One piece of advice.
One piece of advice. I'm going to give her a card. I give her, and just know she's going to take this card with her through life. You feel pressure, Linda?
You're putting me on a spot.
She's going to remember. Oh, that's right. Linda said. This is what Linda said.
I don't have that kind of wisdom.
Well, yes, you do, Linda. You have lived you have a well-lived life, because I will tell you that when I was watching your pre-interview, I was deeply impressed. As a creative myself, I was deeply impressed with someone who continues to create, someone who, the easiest thing in the world is just not to write anymore. The easiest thing in the world is not to paint anymore. The easiest thing in the world is just not to do it. Mm-hmm. And so for someone to wake up and do it, and it's not per se their livelihood. So it's not like I got to do it because I got to pay the mortgage, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm doing it because I love it. I do it because I feel like I'm good at it. I do it because it's an expression of myself. To continue to do that is impressive. That's an impressive life. And so, yes, you do have wisdom to give because you're living an impressive life. Like, I am telling you that, and I am saying to you, Vivian, that you'll come back 10, 15 years, and you'll look back at this podcast, and you'll be like, whoa, like that lady was still writing books at whatever age, we don't know.
Well, I think I would say when you're doing something, be aware of how much pleasure and joy you're getting from it. I know right now, if you were talking about anxiety and that earlier.
Yeah.
And if I feel that way, and I sit down, I go home and I sit down and I start writing or drawing, it takes me away from that, and it gives me a sense of joy and a sense of peace.
Yeah.
So that I can put this other, it doesn't make the other go away forever.
Yeah.
But it gives me a different kind of purpose. And usually these kinds of things are creative pursuits. I think.
Yeah.
Creatives, where you're going to a different place inside yourself, a different place inside your brain, and releasing something that's maybe you didn't even know was there, but it's there.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel good. So if you can always have a place to go when something happens that maybe upsets you or distresses you, there's a place that you can go that can relieve that and make you feel great again and or creative and purposeful. You can find that, and keep that with you always. I would say that's been a great help to me.
You told me you didn't have anything again. That is perfect. We're going to end it right there. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for From the Eyes of Wisdom, and we will see you next time. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Vivian.
Thank you.
Thank you.